Hey guys, so a quick update on altcoins. Now, I alerted members of all of the Discord communities that I was in that I would be going short on Solana at $136 when the daily swing turned from up to down. That is a classic strategy in TIA where we use the Gann swing indicator to determine when the daily trend shifts, and we can long on a reversal out of a significant low or short from a reversal on a significant top. Now, that short has been incredibly profitable. For at one point, I think Solana broke $70. So at one point, that short would have been up pretty much 50% unleveraged. So 500% on a 10x leverage, which is roughly what you would have used if you used your if you put your stop above the top of this daily bar right here. Now, unfortunately, I was an idiot and I closed this out at $99. Now, sometimes it do be like that in the market. You close a trade out thinking, the market is 7 days down and we should look for a reversal between 7 to 10 days in one swing direction. However, we have seen further capitulation. Now, obviously Solana, being more volatile than Bitcoin, often has more days in a single swing. You can see 8 days up here and 12 days down here. So I probably should have, trailed my stop or taken partial profits. But either way, that is lesson learnt. And the other lesson is that Jason seems to have a crystal ball. He predicted double-digit Solana if we could not break above this important level at around $150. And obviously, what did we see? Double-digit Solana. Now, having a look at Solana overall, you can see we have broken the January 2024 low and the April 2025 low, as well as that August 2024 low. So Solana is now hanging on for dear life after breaching its February 2022 lows at around $72. So I do expect, if Bitcoin continues down towards the $50,000 range, that Solana will probably come towards $50, where we can see some previous tops here, and potentially lower at around $30, where we see some previous tops here through the 2022 bear market. Now, with that being said, that is still over around a 50% drop from where we are here. And obviously Solana is already down, if I can find the right tool on TradingView, from its September 2025 top. It's already down 73%. So a further 50% drop is, it sounds crazy, but Solana has done that in the last bear market, where it went from $260 at the top of 2021 down to, was it $7 or $8 in 2022, before making a new all-time high of $300 nearly this cycle. So with that being said, how am I planning on trading Solana? Well, if we do see the daily swing chart turn back up, I will potentially get in on a long trade. And if we do reject off the bottom of this 50-day TMA, like we did here in January, at the end of January, then I will flip short again. Now, if I was purely trading the 50 TMA strategy, which I'm not doing on Solana, I am doing on Bitcoin. I'm doing the TIA daily swing strategy on Solana instead. If I was purely doing the 50 TMA strategy, I would still be holding short. And there's nothing wrong with that if you choose to continue holding short, because I really doubt the market will rally above this peak around $128. Because if Solana rallied above that peak, Bitcoin would probably have to get above $90,000 again. And as you know, since we've broken this macro 50% level at around $71,000, that will act as some pretty strong resistance. And yeah, so if we take a quick look at XRP, we are 11 days down. And that bounce on XRP is actually looking very strong. But with that being said, we did see what was that, like a 25% down bar in a day. So it's expected, obviously, being one of the largest cryptos, that we do see a strong reversal. Now, one thing that I do like about XRP is we have almost double bottomed from that October 2025 low. And we haven't quite free fallen to the previous consolidation ranges. Now, obviously, I am looking at the Bybit perpetual contract chart. If I did want to identify some bear market targets for XRP, I would probably have to switch that chart over to another chart that has, XRP going back all the way to 2017 and do some, volume profile analysis. But from what I can see here, if XRP breaks this $1.15, $1.20 region, I would expect it to come back to, obviously, this nice round psychological number of $1 and potentially the 90 to 95 cents range where we've got some previous swing tops. And before I call, 65, 70 cents, I will probably have to pull up a longer term chart and do some more analysis. And considering the amount of XRP fans out there, I may actually make a video dedicated to XRP. Now, Ethereum is one that I talked about when we were holding this 50% level 2 weeks ago, and the weekly BX trender was looking really nice with higher low after higher low and then eventually green, that Ethereum could potentially make a new all-time high. Now, I was using the analysis of Bitcoin last cycle, when we had this, Actually, I'll use my monthly chart instead of scrolling back forever. When we had this relief rally in March of 2022, Bitcoin came up nearly 50%. And some altcoins did, 500% rallies, and some even made new all-time highs. But this cycle, the bounce has been pitiful and tragic. So with that being said, Ethereum absolutely did not make a new all-time high. We rolled over. The weekly BX trender fired short at $2,800 after initially firing long at $3,050. $3,050 was it? No, $2,990. So compared to Bitcoin, you would have taken a much smaller loss there, and you would have made a lot more money on the short because Ethereum has melted a lot more. It's come into this institutional buy zone of the 786 to 826 fib, and we are still holding this April 2025 low. So from a structural point, it doesn't actually look terrible. And if Bitcoin can bounce here, considering we are in this institutional buy zone, maybe Ethereum can rally up and test its previous lows at maybe 2,600, 2,800 or so. So if you're still holding Ethereum, that might give you a chance to exit or reload on shorts if you've taken profits here. We are obviously 9 days down, but this bounce on Ethereum has not been as strong as XRP. Quick look at Polkadot. It's not something I've been trading, so I am pretty out of the loop with it. ADA's obviously melted and had a decent reversal, but even though I haven't been trading DOT and ADA, you can just see this 50-day TMA strategy has pretty much kept you on the right side of the market this entire time. Like, obviously, you'll get an occasional fake out on the long side, which gives you a chance to, take some partial profits. But especially these weaker altcoins, they've just given you such amazing short opportunities to just sit in a short and just let it run, Go do your 9 to 5, go on a trip somewhere, go do whatever, and just let your money print itself. Same with CRO. We're getting a pretty juicy bounce on CRO. Again, we had this really nice rally that got me all excited, but we just didn't see any follow through. And obviously, we got our signal to flip short. And yeah, BNB held up really, really strongly compared to a lot of the other cryptos. And it is still looking a lot stronger than most other cryptos. Like, it has held pretty much all of its major lows, like the August 2024 low and the April 2025 low. So with that being said, with BNB in a structurally stronger position, if we do see a nice bounce on Bitcoin like I'm predicting, maybe BNB can rally a bit stronger than some of the other cryptos. And maybe for the next cycle, BNB is going to be stronger, because as Jason always says, you don't just want to be buying something because it's cheap. Like, if it's fallen 95% or 99%, it's got so much overhead resistance. You know, people looking to sell out for a break even who've held their bags forever to break through before you can get to a new all-time high. So if BNB can actually hold up really well throughout this entire bear market, it could be a nice runner for the next cycle. Yeah, not much more to say there. Let's have a look at Sui. Now, Sui, we had this really, really strong pump. I drew these lines up here because I was talking in the TIA Discord about whether it was accumulation or distribution. And we got that confirmation of distribution with a lower high underneath this blue line and another lower high underneath this blue line. So you got your early sign, you know, you're pretty sure it's distribution, and then you get your confirmation when you get it lower high under that line on the 4-hour chart. Now, I can probably do my own Wyckoff tutorial another day. But with that being said, if you flip short on Sui at $1.75, you are pretty much up 50% or 500% on a 10x leverage. And if you were trading the 50-day TMA strategy, you would have gone long at $1.60, had heaps of chance to take profits through this entire consolidation range. Well, even if you didn't take any profits, you would have only closed out for around a 10% loss, and you would have made a 50% profit back. So yeah. I won't go into currencies in this video, but with that being said, that's pretty much all the major altcoins I'm tracking. Thank you all for watching, and please like, comment, and subscribe. Goodbye.